There's the Tibetan monastery we saw spilled all over the ravine. I have to say, it looks much better erect than wrecked.
Well, that's certainly fair enough. Anyway, welcome back, and we have arrived in the place known as Shangri-La. Took a bit of a side trip since there were materials in so-called El Dorado that we didn't have. So that is a pretty epic view, and as Arthur said, now that it's back in one piece, or still in one piece, time travel. Actually, it's funny, because if you know what you're looking for, they're having a bit of fun with this. There's a famous dome in Kathmandu in Nepal, I always forget its actual name, that is clearly that thing, and I don't know if you can see this with the resolution, but it has the eyes that we saw on the temple wall in El Dorado, which is an interesting little Easter egg I was alluding to earlier, whereas this side looks an awful lot like the Patala Palace in Lhasa in Tibet, where the Dalai Lama used to live before the Chinese took over. And it just looks like the two things have slammed into each other. That's kind of fun. Anyway, we are... What?
Here, Swiss Miss grows only the finest hot chocolate beans.
Yeah, not up here, I'm thinking. Anyway, so we need a disguise, and this fella's clearly not paying too much attention.
In all likelihood, that human roadblock is a Buddhist pilgrim, and from his ragged appearance, he endured a difficult journey to reach this place. In all likelihood, the pilgrim seems overwhelmed with reverence. Maybe he saw you coming and thinks that you're the great chameleon god, descended from the heavens. Tell him that you demand a large sacrifice of bugs and insects.
I feel like anyone who lives up here isn't even going to know what a reptile is, never mind a chameleon. Well, anyway, logical place to start, I suppose, is up the hill here. This is, well, hold on. If we get up to this point, this is approximately where we were standing when we arrived in Shangri-La the first time in its post-destroyed state. Go on in. And if we go over here, oh, there we go. There is a bridge, but it is sort of stowed at the moment, and climbing down it isn't going to do us any good now. So if we go this way, let's see, oh, I think we came in that way. So if we try going up this way, or have I got that backwards? Well, we'll find out in a second. Aha! Oh, I see. So, oh, there's somebody else here. Judging from that big stick that both he and I are carrying, this is the guy whose corpse we found in the aftermath of the avalanche. Let's go across. I love this stuff. I'm, not an expert, but the icon my grandmother is a Buddhist, and, like, this kind of thing, she's got this kind of thing hanging on her bedroom wall, and that sort of thing is, it certainly, if it isn't classic Tibetan Buddhist iconography, it's a darn good imitation. Anyway, let's, have a word with this gentleman. Oh.
From his uniform and square shoulders, I would guess that guard...
Whoop.
Greetings, stranger. Do you wish to cross the bridge?
Yes, I suppose we do.
Yes.
You must give the offering of the initiate before you can cross the bridge and enter Shangri-La.
What kind of offering are you talking about?
It has always been a tradition for an aspirant seeking induction into our order to give a silk scarf before crossing the bridge.
Okay.
Where can I find a silk scarf?
Usually the family makes a silk scarf for the initiate. Silk is a rare treasure, but it is never far from worldly men. I am sure you will find what you seek if you look far and wide.
Like, possibly into other time periods. Alright? Well, might as well leave him be. He's,
Goodbye.
Alright. So, sorry, I accidentally cut off what Arthur was saying a minute
From
ago.
his uniform and square shoulders, I would guess that guard is a warrior monk known as a Dob-Dob. The guard's so nice they named him twice. For protection, Tibetan monasteries allowed Dob-Dobs to practice the arts of war. Think of him as a monk with an attitude. And that attitude is, I don't like you very much.
Those are apparently a real thing. I hadn't heard of them before I played this game, but looked it up and this does seem to exist.
Wouldn't it be funny if you asked him for his staff and he said with a straight face, "Never, infidel, you'll have to pry it from my cold, dead fingers."
It'd probably be funny to you, Arthur, but anyway. So, yeah, which would explain the staff, and I don't know if you can see this, but he's got a sword slung under his robes as well. And apparently, if he's a warrior monk, he definitely knows how to fight, but clearly lost the fight given that black eye that he's sporting. Well, anyway. So, you can take that for a hint. Look far and wide for a silk scarf. Not clear how far we're going to have to look. Silk scarves are legitimately a thing in Tibetan Buddhism. I don't know what their actual significance is off the top of my head, but they seem to be something that you exchange as a sign of welcome and respect, as far as I can tell. But anyway, so that's as far as we can get. We can't cross the bridge in the same place that we did, when we came here last time. So there's those eyes of the Buddha, I presume. But there is this sort of, oddly enough, this sort of secondary bridge, I guess, to make sure that you can access at least some of Shangri-La without the silk scarf the gentleman mentioned. But anyway, so if we cross here, let's see what we can find. So, oh boy, it even wobbles a little bit, but yeah, there you go. It's one of those things where sometimes they break up the transition from place to place, and I'm not sure why they bother, but just because there's nothing in between. But having said that, there are some pretty good views to be had. Moo.
Look at the ground on this side of the bridge, Gage. It's green.
No, it's
Some
not.
technology is keeping ice away from this side of the mountain. This culture must be advanced. They have invented the Zamboni centuries before its time.
That's probably not it, but you never know. Anyway, what else? So there's some inscription on the rock here, and Arthur can translate for us.
The inscription speaks of the Four Noble Truths. All forms on the wheel of life suffer. The cause of all suffering is ignorance. The true path to deliverance is blocked by vice and falsehood. Knowledge of the virtues will reveal the true path.
That's actually correct. That the Four Noble Truths are one of the founding aspects of Buddhism, and I think he got them about right. Anyway, what's this over here?
Those colorful symbols on yonder rock are the 6 syllables of a holy Buddhist mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. It means Om, a jewel in the lotus.
And
Om Mani Padme Hum.
yeah, he'll only explain that the one time, and from here on out it'll, oh, never mind. He'll just read it every time you click on it after that, but...
Graffiti in Shangri-La? Those darn punk monk vandals have struck again.
Right.
Each syllable in the mantra is important. Om begins and ends all meditation. It is said to be the perfect sound of the universe, but not when you say it like this. Almighty!
Yes, which is why no one says it like that, although the point he made about what it means is correct as far as I know.
Hum, the last syllable of the jewel mantra, is an angry syllable, meant to be a spiritual war cry against vice.
Cool. That one I did not know. Anyway, we appear to have some company on this emphatically not green plateau. Some very low-resolution yaks.
I think we've wandered onto the petting zoo. Get a quarter and let's find the yak feed dispenser. How cute, a black and white snuffleupagus. In Tibet, yaks are a major natural resource. The milk they produce is turned into a treasured butter product. Yak butter is used in food, tea, candles, and even used to make incredible sculptures. So, don't be surprised one day when Tibetans invent cold fusion from the curdled milk of yaks.
Someday I really have to try yak butter tea.
Many devout Buddhists are in fact vegetarians. Tibetans often left animals under the care of monks to protect them from slaughter. Someone might have brought those beasties here to prevent them from becoming McYaks.
Oh boy. Oh, still quite possible. Although it's necessarily pretty difficult to be a full-time vegetarian when you live on the Tibetan plateau. Here's something to talk about.
That's a statue of Buddha, the holy man responsible for creating the Buddhist religion. Before becoming a deity, Buddha was known as Siddhartha, a man from India who transcended worldly suffering, becoming a paragon of spiritual perfection.
A slight oversimplification. For one thing, I don't know that a lot of schools of Buddhism would consider him a deity, just as a great teacher, but it depends on who you ask, as with a lot of things.
You can thank me later, but I spotted some inscriptions at the base of that statue. On second thought, you should thank me now.
But he is right, in all fairness.
The Shrine of the Animal Realm. To enlighten the savage.
Speaking of animals.
Looks like there's another inscription on the base of that statue. To Aunt Edna, hope you're feeling Buddha, Cousin Morty?
I have no idea what that was a reference to, if anything. Anyway, we can't get past the yaks, which is fair enough, so we'll leave them be. Now, there is something here. There's a sort of grate, but it's open from the inside.
I see a lever just beyond that grating that might open this passage for us.
Me too.
If we had something long and hooked, we might be able to pull it.
Long I've got, but not hooked. The staff isn't going to do the job, so we'll have to try something else. So there's a sort of side passage up here. Let's see what we can find. I'll try not to. I'll try nerding out about this a bit more later, but for whatever reason, possibly because it's better documented of the civilizations that we're riffing on in this game. Rattling up the stairs here. There's the bridge. The way the game explains Buddhism is actually pretty comprehensive as far as I know, just from the stuff I've learned from my grandma. It's really the heart of the edutainment aspect of the Journeyman Project 3 is in Shangri-La. It's present elsewhere, as we've seen with Dorado already, but it's particularly strong here.
Now this is interesting. The walls on this building are partly made of a slightly translucent paper to allow sun to pass through. It reminds me of a greenhouse. A greenhouse in the Himalayas? Isn't that like looking for an ice needle in a butter haystack on a very hot day? I don't think I've quite mastered this simile thing yet.
Well, at least you admit that you have a problem, Arthur. Then we go. So, step inside is probably warmer in here, if nothing else. And here's this gentleman. I'll capture his image before I talk to him. So, if I want to pump him for information, it's probably best to pretend to be someone he doesn't know, so...
Where's your modesty? You can't change your...
Yeah, sorry, Arthur. Sorry, that was my mistake. So, turning into the warrior guard guy probably won't help. So, let's continue being the pilgrim and have a word with this chap.
Ah, a new face on the mountain. I am Imul, keeper of the greenhouse and the shrine.
How do you do?
Gosh, Keith Richards hasn't changed at all.
Oh, shut up, Arthur. Seems like a nice guy. All right, let's ask him about all this.
Tell me about the greenhouse.
Gladly, traveler. To sustain the brothers of our order, we grow our own food. Heat from tunnels below the monastery sustains the crops and even allows the wishing tree to thrive.
All right, what's the wishing tree?
What is the wishing tree?
The tree at the center of the greenhouse is the wishing tree. It is very old and sacred. The fruit it bears is a treasure and believed to grant longevity. However, the tree has been sick lately. I think the roots may have been afflicted.
I think it's not the only one who's sick. You look like you're holding in a sneeze the whole time we've been talking, but that can't be good. Well, let's set that aside for now. Where are the tunnels?
Where are these steam tunnels?
A system of steam tunnels run underneath the monastery and taps into natural hot springs deep in the mountain. They were built long ago to bring heat to our monastery and to this greenhouse, so we could grow our own food.
Which would explain the lack of ice and snow on the mountainside there, I suppose. Alright, what do you grow here?
What kind of crops do you grow?
Oh, we grew a wide variety of vegetables here. But unfortunately, the crops have been suffering lately. I'm sorry, but my cold seems to be getting worse.
Oh, so I wasn't imagining that he's a little poorly.
How did you catch your cold?
I have not been able to give the praetors their offering. I know that is why the crops are dying. The hungry spirits have been offended. They have blamed me for my failure and given me this cold.
Wait, hold up for a minute.
Who are the praetors?
One of the 6 realms of unenlightenment is the realm of the praetors. Tortured spirits, damned for gluttony in previous lives. These ghosts live in our world, constantly tantalized by material possessions. They suffer, for they can never satisfy their hungers. It is the duty of our brotherhood to alleviate all sufferings, even the suffering of the praetors.
Huh. That's correct as far as, praetors or hungry ghosts are pretty much what he said. I don't know if they can actually do things like give you a cold, but one thing that my grandma has told me is don't make light of the concept of ghosts to Tibetan monks, because ghosts are no laughing matter for them. But anyway, let's go back up and ask him about those roots.
What's wrong with the roots?
I don't know what to do. The tree should have grown fruit weeks ago. I went into the tunnels to inspect the roots, and I had found that they were rotting and sickly. I fear that the tree may die.
That can't be good. Well, anyway, that's the greenhouse. What about this shrine?
Tell me about the shrine.
The shrine for the praetors' realm, the hungry spirit, is in this greenhouse. I am charged with making offerings to the ravenous spirits to appease them.
Alright, who are praetors? We've already done that. And
Can you tell me what sort of offerings you make?
If you make offerings to the praetors, you will prosper. If you offend them or hurt the earth, they will punish you. We appease the praetors by offering the spiritual food.
Tell me about the spiritual fruit.
The wishing tree at the center of the garden bears a rare fruit that I offer to the praetors' shrine.
I don't know if that would be an aspect of Buddhism in real life, making offerings to hungry ghosts. Just believing that they exist is as far as I know, but so they might attack that bit on. I'm not sure. All right. Well, anyway, I think we've said all we can to this gentleman, so let's let him get back.
Goodbye.
Farewell, new friend. I hope to talk more with you later.
All right. Well, seems like a nice chap. Okay, well, let's explore here a little bit. This is a particularly spectacular environment, and there's a point of interest. Make sure I'm in the right position here.
Look, another Buddha statue. But that one is a different color. I wonder if there are any other colored statues around here. Maybe the ever-elusive fuchsia Buddha?
Probably not. fuchsia, but it is an interesting point worth considering.
The lotus is an important symbol in Buddhism. It is a symbol of wisdom and spiritual unfoldment, following the metaphor that the roots are in the dark mud of the earth, but the lotus head rises up to face the sunlight.
That, as far as I know, also correct. And this one, just like the one outside that the yaks were standing next to, has an inscription. Oh.
The shrine of the Praetus realm, to sate their eternal hungers.
Praetus is the hungry ghost that we were talking about a minute ago. This is one of those times where it's like, there's no way that this greenhouse is big enough to grow enough food to feed a substantial number of people, but maybe this is just the front of the greenhouse. It's one of those things probably best not to overthink. Anyway, I presume this to be the wishing tree of which our friend the gardener was speaking. And I guess he's been tending to it as he may.
Hey, I've been looking for a knife like that. Let's try and find another one and play Klingon Blood Challenge. Kapach! That means Frady Cat.
Yeah, actually, knowing Klingon, it wouldn't shock me if it actually did mean that. If that isn't a 90s joke, I don't know what is. But anyway, so there is a knife, sort of a little hooked pruning knife. I think he was holding one when we were talking to him. So I think we can nick that, and of course...
That looks like a map of this monastery. It seems to indicate that there are tunnels underneath the buildings.
Just as was said earlier. So with the map as a kind of interesting interface, you just drag and drop it onto your main screen here, and then it's big enough you have to kind of scroll around. There's those eyes again. But he's right, it is a map of the monastery with the tunnels. So we're going to need that a little later, but we needed a sharp object back in El Dorado. I think we just got one. So, tell you what, I don't want to get too sidetracked into Shangri-La at this point when we still have to finish El Dorado, and I don't want to turn this Let's Play into a, massive tangle of different levels all interweaving any more than I have to. So, for now, where the gardener gentleman can't see us, we'll warp back to El Dorado and tie this off, or try to. There you go, as promised, right back where we left from. We've got all of our local disguises back. So I think there's only one thing for it, is to hop into the balloon here and ride the way across and put what we have to use.
Would you like to ride in my beautiful balloon? Da-da-da-da-da-da, balloon, da-da-da-da-da-da, up and away in my beautiful... You're not singing, Gage.
Yeah, you're darn right I'm not. Alrighty. So our objective was to have a word with the shaman, and if we have to distract the guard by cutting his balloon loose, let's see if we can do it this time. So I'll skip fast travel as fast so you don't have to watch me making these incremental steps as much, but for the first one, we'll continue pretending to be a kid, I guess. Maybe the maidens will make less noise. But if we sneak up behind here, yep, he's still there. I captured his image already, right? Oh, no, I didn't. Not that I don't suppose I'm going to need it anymore, but, alright. So here's the tether for his balloon. Let's see if we can cut it. Uh-huh. What? Oh, yep, that's... If you say so. Well, anyway, better stay out of his way there. Just leave him to wrestle the balloon while we do what we're doing. Music's getting exciting. That must mean something. I do like the iconography that they put on the balloons, kind of denoting what they're used for. That's a nice little touch. Okay, so there's this way, but there's that's betcha the shaman's on the other side of this chap here. So I suppose I'm standing in front of him disguised as a Cheo, the kid. I might as well stay that way since we know he's sort of the shaman's protege. Let's have a word with this guy.
How did you get in here? This is no place for boys. Go back to your farm, Cheo.
Kokwar, stay your hand. Allow the boy in. I have need to speak with him. Don't worry. I don't think he is armed. Well, Acheo, have you come to hear a story?
Well, we might as well start off by asking about the spirits we keep hearing about, so let's
Can you tell me about the spirits?
Ah, the old teachers. There have been 6. Most only know of the element spirits. Fire, earth, air, and water. But the other 2, they are different.
They're not called Heart and the Avatar, are they? Oh boy. I'm starting to turn into Arthur sense of humor wise. Alright, well, let's start with the obvious.
Please speak of the 4 element spirits.
They used to live among us long ago. They showed us how to master our land with knowledge. They showed us how to bring water to the plateaus and make wells. They showed us how to harness fire and air to fly into the skies. And then they left.
Well, that was kind of anticlimactic. Actually, well, fair
Where
question.
did the
Where'd they
spirits go?
They went to the dream place. They still speak to me during the ritual of seeing.
Alright, so what about these other 2 then?
Tell me about the 2 other spirits.
Most would find this difficult. But I think that you would understand it, Cheo. The 2 other spirits are time and space. Time consumes all. Space encompasses all. Together, they are all. They show me the dreams of what was and what is to come in the ritual of seeing.
And that is?
What is the ritual of seeing?
When I ride my holy balloon over the pampas, the spirits show me a place that no other eyes can look upon. The dream place. I see the ancient lines traced by our forefathers, moving across the plains like snakes, until I see images of yesterday and tomorrow.
Okay. Well, got that sorted out. Let's hear this story we keep hearing.
Tell me the story.
Long before you and I, time and space begot the 4 element spirits. Together, they bore many children, including twin brothers. 2 great birds, who each founded mighty tribes. When the spirits disappeared from the world, brothers fought across many lands for the right to inherit a totem that held the secrets of the spirits. Fearing that the brothers would abuse the totem's power, the watchful spirits asked a young man in a village to help them.
Whoa. Talk about deja vu. Doesn't this sound eerily familiar? Talk about deja vu. Doesn't this sound... Sorry, I couldn't resist.
You were all spine-tingly for about 2 seconds there, Arthur. Alright, well, why did they fight?
Why did the brothers fight?
They would not share in the inheritance of their elders, both arrogantly believing the other to be unworthy of claiming the totem.
Alright, what is this totem thing?
What is this totem?
It is an object that contains a great knowledge of the spirits. It is meant for all of their children, when all are grown and ready.
Who was this young man?
He was the first shaman, before the brothers came to the village. The
spirits of time and space broke the totem into 3 pieces and gave the shaman one of them to go and hide. Knowing the brothers' power, the shaman pleaded with the element spirits for guidance.
Okay.
Where are the pieces?
One was given to the young man, the first shaman of our people, to hide. The other 2, scattered by the spirits of time and space.
Yes, I think I know broadly where they were scattered to. Although, one thing that confuses me, or at least at first blush, was they're scattered through time and space, but if they're 3 independent ones, they're also spread apart in time a fair bit. You would think that it would be the same one emerging more than once, but we wouldn't have to find all 3 of them if that was the case. I'm wondering whether that means that in the first version of this timeline they were blown up by the aliens fighting over them. Well, anyway.
Did the spirits guide the young man?
Yes. Kualakwa and Kohabota, the spirits of fire and air, heard the shaman's cry and whisked him into the clouds. While high above his village, he saw the perfect hiding place, so he went there and concealed the totem. He asked all of the elements to guard it, and they have ever since. This happened many generations ago, and yet there is still more.
Well, with many generations to fit it all in. Well, what about the hiding
Where
place?
was the hiding place?
Somewhere near the temple, concealed by 2 elements and guarded by the rest.
And what about the rest of the story?
Tell me the rest of the story.
The brothers never found the totem. They left to search for it far away. Ever since, the shaman of each generation has dreamed of the brothers' return. But I have seen a new dream of the story's end and of another young man.
Well, that's how it ends first.
What is the ending?
Our city dies.
Oh.
Our warriors all perish in battle, valiantly. The brothers spare nothing. Only a young man will survive. The one who will save the totem.
Okay, dare I
Who
ask?
was the young man?
You, Achael.
Whoa.
There is something special about you. You have a destiny. You must save the totem from destruction, for it has a great purpose. You will finish the story. Remember what I have told you. Call upon the spirits. They will help you as they did the first shaman. You will also need the talisman that I gave you. You will know what to do with it. Do you still have it?
Well, obviously I don't, but let's assume that the real Acheo does.
Oh, of course.
Good. It will be important to you later. Spirits guard you, Achael, on your journey. I know that you will make me proud. A young warrior.
You say that we were describing his role as being a warrior, but what do I know? Maybe it's just what I feel like that's just one of those stock words that white people use when they're writing about indigenous Americans again. Well, anyway, that may be the case, but I think we've used up this extensive conversation tree and found out a good deal, so we'll leave the gentleman alone.
Goodbye, shaman.
May the spirits watch you today.
I swear that guy's hair is fake. Ah, well. Probably his too, come to think of it, but hard to tell. This is all getting very Luke Skywalker all of a sudden. Well, since I'm here, I'm gonna just explore this other tunnel that I found noticed on the way in. This must be the holy balloon that the shaman was referring to.
I'm thinking joyride.
Yeah, no. Let's take a closer look. Actually, come to think of it, he might not have been all that far off.
someone just used this vehicle. The heating element is still hot. Between your natural gas and my hot air, we should be able to get this jalopy off the ground. That stone piece above the gas tube is a flint striking block. If we had another piece of flint to strike against it, we could ignite the gas.
I don't think we have anything that fits the bill right now. I've struck sparks from flint and steel before, but oddly enough, this knife doesn't work for that. Okay, so that being the case, I think we've been given a pretty clear indicator of what it is that we're supposed to be looking for at some point, because the shaman mentioned Cheo's talisman. Of course, we're not the real Cheo, so we don't have that.
I thought gargoyles were made of stone. This one's made of mean and ugly.
Yeah, right. He looks fine. Well, although, it just occurred to me that if I'm going to talk Cheo into giving up the talisman, I should probably appear as someone he'd willingly hand it to, and that's the shaman, and I don't have his appearance, so I'm going to have to call him back.
Shaman, your little visitor is here.
He's a bit more polite this time, marginally. Okay, and our guy comes back.
Welcome back, Acheo. What may I do for you?
So, there we go. So, yeah, this is the framework under which if you obviously there was a lot here, so if you were in the game and you wanted a refresher on the world building or the clues, either one or both, then you can just do it again. I mean, he won't react any differently. It'll just repeat. Anyway, but we don't actually have to do that, so...
Goodbye, shaman.
May the spirits watch you today.
Alright, now we got that sorted out. Alright, so Cheo's got that talisman and we need it. I better turn into the shaman, I guess. And then what I'll do is... Otherwise, we have to backtrack over a lot of ground at this point, so I usually, click forward and then hit the escape key. But I'll edit around this as much as I can so that you don't have to watch it all, since you will have seen most of the path already. So we're going to have to cross back over and have a word with Cheo. Where is he? There he is.
Shaman, I had the dream you spoke of. I saw everything you said I would see.
Interesting. Tell me about your dreams.
I was in your balloon, rushing into the air, and I can see the whole city. The lines on the pampas moved and formed pictures, animals, and people, and I can hear many other shamans talking to me. They told me to look to the temple.
Whoa.
What did you see on the temple?
I saw the faces of the spirits. They said that they knew where the totem was. Then I woke up from the dream.
That's a kick in the head. Alright.
Do you still have the talisman I gave you?
Why? Do you want the talisman? You gave it to me.
A mind broke. No, let's go with the straightforward example.
Cheo, I need to take back the talisman for a little while. I need it for an important ceremony.
Oh, of course, my shaman.
Alright, boom. Alright, we can leave him be now.
Goodbye.
Thank you for visiting me, shaman. I can't wait to hear more stories later.
I certainly hope you do. Alright, so, success. And we leave the Cheo, and of course he probably goes back to sleep. It'd be interesting to go up and have a word with his dad as the shaman, just to see what happens, but there are, different conversations, world building, side conversations, stuff like that you can have in lots of different combinations, and I don't want to spend a lot of time doing all of them. But let's take a look at this talisman, and incidentally, if you hadn't noticed this before, I'll show you what to do if you want a closer look at something, is when you hover over it, there's a little question mark in the corner, you click on that, it shows you the close-up and describes it. Well, it's a flint talisman. Well, that's handy. The only problem is that whenever I move the cursor, it flickers like crazy like that. But anyway, so put that away for now. That talisman has an interesting shape. I think Arthur
This is the farm plateau we visited earlier. We know that most of the fighting occurred over the temple of the...
Never mind. That was not what I thought it was. Alright. So, but I was going to observe that, and I suspect he would have too if I timed it right, that it has a shape and the image of a coatl on it that it looks very familiar. So let's head back over to the other side. There's not a whole lot I think we can do here right now. There's at least, I think, 2 uses for this talisman that I can see, so let's start over on this side. Go back to the reflecting pool, or whatever it's called. Because it looks like it would fit beautifully in this little slot here. So if I try that, click it in there. That's a really riven sort of sound effect and visual effect right there. Alright, I'm training the pool. Let's see what the significance of that might be. Oh, there are heads on the side of the pool.
Gage, we found it! The actual birthplace of Pez!
Oh, jeez. Alright.
I recognize some of these heads from the wall depicting the great story inside the top of the temple. The story on the wall referred to them as the element spirits.
And then 6 of them. I think that tracks with what the shaman was telling us earlier. And you can interact with them, so try that one.
Apparently the heads were meant to be pushed in. But why? There must be some purpose for all these heads. Could this be a strange, mysterious device used to amuse some giant baby?
Somehow I doubt it. The heads are the same on every one of these sort of sets. There's 4 sets spread around the arrowhead shape of the pool. It may not be a distraction for anyone, but it does screen combination lock in my experience of this type of game. So, we don't have the combination yet, but let's apply this talisman to the other purpose we know it has. So we take it back, and the water comes back in. Okay, so suppose we head back to the shaman's place. And put this flint talisman to its more sort of banal use that we found for it earlier. I suppose as we're coming back I should probably turn into somebody else. Oh, looks like it won't even let me go here.
Sorry, Gage. You can't approach someone with their guys.
Yeah, well, quite apart from anything else, it'd probably freak out the guard if the guy he's guarding is also in front of him. So, I guess let's turn back into a Cheo again. He seems a logical choice most of the time in this environment. And this time we're going to go back up to the... What did the guard call it earlier? An aviary? I guess where an aviator goes as opposed to an avian. This is the way they normally use that term. But anyway, let's bundle in here. It's interesting on the, looking at it close up, I suddenly realized I didn't quite get how it worked at first, is that there's gas in this bottle, a tube connecting it, and then you ignite the gas here. I don't know what the gas is, but anyway, let's give it a try. So, yeah, it definitely lights up when I hold it over here. Whoosh. Alright. In real life, I'm pretty sure getting a hot air balloon going is a lot more difficult than this. Aha! And there's the images on the pampas we keep hearing about, and some of them look pretty familiar. There's those Buddha eyes again. And the windmill from Atlantis, although this is a little different. I don't think any of the... I don't know a lot about the Nazca lines, but I'm pretty sure none of them look like Prussian eagles or mushroom clouds. Although some of them might look like alien spaceships if you want them to look like alien spaceships, I guess. And then, aha!
Sinclair says, I'm sorry, but that painting just sucks. But this time, you know, instead of getting mad, I just walk away, as if saying, girlfriend, don't even go there. So then he says, Gage, have you been listening to a word I've said?
Mercifully, no. Alright, so if you can pan over to the pampas again over there, and it'll do that dramatic pan over that it did just now again. But it's kind of neat looking at it from this angle. I think that over there is where we left from. And then that's the main temple, and if I zoom in on that... Oh ho! Well, that's handy. So, those are 4 of the 6 heads that we saw in the pool, and spread around the perimeter of the pool where the different sets of heads are. It's a really weird way of phrasing it, but here, Arthur, over to you.
These 4 heads on the temple roof must be related to the heads we saw in the pool. If I had to make a guess, these spaces tell us exactly which head to push in for each of the 4 walls. I have to hand it to him. What a clever place to hide the answer to a combination lock. I always put mine in my wallet.
Oh god, he's providing his own rim shots now. Alright, so that's one of those situations where you need to find a piece of paper and write it down. And then just put the capper on it.
Gage! See the 2 birds poised over the arrow-shaped pool? Those birds must represent the brothers. They're fighting over the pool.
It sure looks that way. Also, it dawned on me that when you arrive for the first time in El Dorado and Arthur comments on the Nazca lines, I think the Nazca lines he was seeing, or the lines he was seeing were the wing of this brother bird over here, which is presumably either the Sorolans or the Quothalas fighting over the legacy. Alright, so let's zoom out from there. So if you can pause on the combination, go back on the video, and write it down. But having done so, let's, I think just tap this to snuff it out somehow. And we go back down again. And then we can go put that to work. Say what you want about the graphics, but they really did an upstanding job on the environment design for my money. Oof. So let's head on back to the pool and put that combination to use. Just make sure I've still got the talisman, and I do. Now, while we're on the way over, wanted to say that was actually pretty neat, and kind of goes to something that again is pretty impressive vis-a-vis my expectations of the story of the game. And as far as there's the tendency in these sort of ancient alien stories is to make it sound like these people, you know, worship something the aliens did for them, but they do there's almost a bit of a balance being struck in this game, certainly in this environment, where the aliens clearly, you know, apparently the power from the artifact that we're looking for is maybe what gives them the ability to see the future, which is how the shaman is foreseeing the near future up to and including their being attacked tomorrow. And as well as, you know, some of the stuff we saw on the images in the pampas a minute ago. But beyond that, you know, it seems like they might have gotten a bit of a boost from the aliens, but how they use that boost seems like it was a lot more in their hands. So At least that's my read on it, and maybe I'm being too generous, but I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised again. Anyway, so we've got the combination from having floated high above and all there. But if we want to use it, we got to get the water out of this pool again. So where's the talisman? Just drop it in there again. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So like I said, I wrote down the combination when we saw it earlier, and in we go. So what I'll do is if I start going clockwise from the base of the arrowhead, i.e. the stairs, then if I go to this one, of course I was fiddling with it earlier, but the one that we want for this one is this bloke with the square eyes. Alright, so you can't turn them off, you can just turn another one on once you've started the process. Okay, so up at the point here is this one, which I persist in thinking of as a grumpy bear, because that's what it looks like. I don't know if that's actually what it's supposed to be. And then on the other side of the point here is the thing that I'm pretty sure is meant to be a parrot. And then finally, down the other side, I always forget, but I believe it's this one that's meant to look, I believe, like a jaguar.
That seemed to do the trick. Sounds like we opened a door nearby.
I think I found it. This is a bit like the pyramid in Zone that has the doorway and its stairs. Coincidence, I'm sure, but... this is starting to look kind of intense already. Whoa.
A pessimist might view a wall of fire popping up in front of them as a minor setback. But you, Gage, you're a rock. Stop crying. We can get through this.
Yeah, it's a bit Indiana Jones, so even if you do...
Cinnamon! No, Gage, your eyebrow's on fire.
Yeah, I tried that a couple of times. I thought maybe it was a timing thing, but it's not. You literally just can't get through there. Although, on the bright side, much in the tradition of games like Myst, you can get stuck, but you can't get killed in this game. Apparently, I gather you could in the first two Journeyman Project games, but not this one. As far as I can remember, there's no death conditions in this one. Alright, so we can't go in there because fire, but we do have a way to put out the fire, so if I just leave that entryway open, and then yank out the talisman that's draining the water,
Bravo, Gage! That should be the last of the Element Guardians. Now let's search the rest of this temple.
Do let's. Phew, it's gonna be like a sauna down there, one supposes. Well, looks much cooler in here now.
Here's gourmet food for thought. The shaman, thinking that you were the farm boy Acheo, confided that he had a dream about the boy. The shaman saw Acheo save the artifact and said that he had a great destiny. Gage, you were disguised as the boy when you visited the shaman. Do you think that he really dreamed about you?
Yeah, there's a twist, eh? Although, as clever as that is in a sense, I feel like it's kind of, I think there was an episode of Deep Space Nine that had a twist kind of like that, actually. But it kind of exposes the dark side of this game. It took a while to dawn on me, but, you know, even though we were talking about Acheo as having the potential for greatness and a destiny and all that jazz, he's not going to get the totem because we are, and there's no condition under which I don't know if you even can, give the talisman back to him. So, does that mean he dies along with everybody else? You know, if it wasn't for the time travel factor, I'd almost think maybe he'd take the artifact and like go found the Nazca civilization or something. But it kind of made it dawn on me that if we're going around, you know, saving these artifacts in these ancient civilizations, but that doesn't actually translate into saving the civilizations, which is, I don't know, it's kind of a bummer. Anyway, not a whole lot we can do about it, but, whoa, something to see here. So, Arthur, if you would.
I'll translate that large grouping of pictograms on the pillar.
Thank you.
Ever since the spirit teachers first gave our shamans the gift of the dream seeing, our people have been entrusted with recording stories that have passed and stories that will come. We have seen that the wrath of the brothers spans across many generations.
Oh, the dream seeing. I think the music is drowning him out a little bit. I keep hearing the green sea. I'm like, what does that mean? Anyway, I think there's more on this side.
Far, far into tomorrow, more years than can be counted by generations, the brothers will return for a final battle when all of the totems are brought together. Our shamans have seen many murky dreams about this coming conflict. Although the outcome is uncertain, the fate of the world will be decided.
Yeah, it's also they're literally going to come back tomorrow, and you guys seem to be resigned to being wiped off the map by that, which is kind of cold. Also, it just occurred to me that up there is, because if you look down here, this is the face that we saw when we looked down the shaft in the temple when we were talking to the scribe guy. So, from his point of view, did he just get like a huge plume of steam coming up into his workplace? I feel like in amongst everything else, in amongst not saving all these people, we also probably just freaked him out. Well, in any event, all we can really do is take a look at this thing, and we click it. Aha! Betcha that's what we're looking
for. That must be the artifact! Hurry and grab it,
So.
Gage, and I'll jump us back to TSA.
Okay, click and drag. Do the honors, Arthur.
I can feel Sosikwi energy flowing from you. Show me what you have found.
This object was sheltered in one of the temples. Could it be the legacy?
Yes, this is a relic of the Elders. It bears the mark. The other inscriptions are very complex. I will attempt to translate, but my knowledge of Sosikwi is limited. We discovered long ago that several old Earth languages were actually primitive dialects of Sosikwi. This is only a part of the true legacy. The inscriptions speak of 3 vessels piously guarded that hold the powers of the legacy. This is only one, but Gage has given us hope.
Did you find objects like this in the other 2 temples?
No. I haven't searched them completely yet.
I haven't searched one of them at all
I briefed
yet.
the World Senate on what's been going on. They lifted the suspension and have given us full sanction to search for the legacy. You must understand, Ambassador Yosala. TSA protocol requires that only agents stay in the command room.
I understand, Commissioner Baldwin. If you need our assistance, you need but to ask. I will devote all my energies to slowing the advance of the Quotha Lost.
How long has she been here, though? I guess maybe from their point of view, I've only been gone for like 2 minutes.
I want you to pore over every molecule of this thing and run these inscriptions to our language database. We need information.
I'm gonna need someone knowledgeable to help me analyze this. Not to question your judgment, sir, but you just kicked that someone out.
I need to know who I can count on in a crisis. The only people I can fully trust are my agents.
Bring Michelle back. She's an expert linguist and historian.
Agent 3? She's a criminal, what's worse, a traitor. She captured and imprisoned you, remember?
No, I don't. That memory was erased. But she did give herself up to give us this chance. Put her under house arrest. Do whatever you have to do, but bring her back. We need her. I can't do this alone.
Very well. I'll release her. But if she slips up once, she's history.
She won't surprise you. be back when I find another of the artifacts.
You should know. The Cathalas have entered symbiotic space. They are ignoring all other planets and continuing towards Earth. It is doubtful the symbiotic defenses will slow them. Time is now our enemy.
Oh boy. Alright, well, one artifact down. I suppose it's time for us to go get another one. So we'll head for another time period, but we'll take a break first. Alright, see you later.